Hello and welcome to Relatable Code. In this video, we're going to talk about shared preferences in Android. So let's get started. You can think of shared preferences as a small memory book hidden inside your application. It's like a small file where you can write tiny bits of information that your app needs to remember even after users close your application. In this video, we're going to build this application. It's a simple application with a switch and a text view where users can choose to see a dark mode inside their application. So if you click on this switch, a dark mode will get toggled. And if you close your application and reopen it, the dark mode will stay inside that application. Okay? In this video, we're not going to go over the UI related parts. I'm going to give you the initial code of this video, okay? But what I can tell you is that we have a component called a switch compat, which gives you this switch basically with a text for dark mode, okay? And underneath that switch compat, we have a simple text view that just says app content, okay? That's the setup for the XML file. And inside the main activity, we're going to use view binding, okay, which we enable inside the build.gradle app settings. So to build this application, we're only going to focus on the main activity Kotlin file. So how can we work with this shared preferences component that we're talking about to retain this kind of information? Well, to start, there's a very simple way to get access to this shared preferences, and that's by creating a variable like shared prefs equals to get shared preferences. Okay, it's that easy. And get shared preferences expects two parameters. Okay, the first parameter is a name, and that will be the name of the file of the shared preferences. Okay, we said that shared preferences are like a small file where you can insert some small pieces of data. So we have to give this file a name. And here we can name this something like app prefs, for example. Okay, and as a second parameter, it expects something called a mode. For this, we will pass context dot mode underscore private. Okay, this means that the content of this file will be exclusive to this application. So no other application will be able to access the information contained inside this file for our shared preferences. And that's the recommended settings for using shared preferences, okay, for security reasons. And you can write data into this file for our shared preferences using shared prefs dot edit dot put. And with put, you have put boolean, put float, put int, put long, and string set as well. Okay, those are the types of information that you can store inside this file. For our example, we have a toggle. So the user either chooses dark mode or he doesn't choose a dark mode or a light mode in that case. Okay, so that's a true or false type of flag, and for that we need a boolean. Okay, so for put we're going to use put boolean, and to put a value inside the shared preferences file, you're going to put it with a key. In our case, we're going to use a key with dark mode. Okay, the key will be just a simple string. And for the second parameter for your put boolean, you need the boolean itself. You can choose to put in a true value or a false value if you want. But in order to have these changes take effect, you need to call one of two methods. Okay, the first method is .commit, which processes your changes synchronously, and the second method is .apply, which processes your changes asynchronously. And what that means is if you write .commit, this line of code will block your UI thread so that it can execute. Okay, but with .apply, it doesn't block the UI code. Instead, it initiates a separate process to execute this line of code. Okay, which is what you're going to need in this case. You don't want to block the UI thread for any reason for your users. Okay, that's how you save a boolean into your shared preferences. And in order to get this Boolean value, you can use shared paths dot get Boolean. Okay, what you're going to need here is the same key that you used to save this Boolean. So we're going to use dark mode. And for the second parameter, you're going to need the default value of this Boolean. Okay, you can choose false and you can choose true if you want, because when the user opens the app for the first time, he will not have a default type of setting chosen for dark mode. Okay, so you want to supply that default value yourself, and you can choose whether it's false or true. Okay, that's what you need to know about writing data into shared preferences and getting data from shared preferences. Okay, writing other types of data is pretty much the same. Instead of using put boolean, you would use something like put int in this case. And instead of supplying a boolean value, you will supply an integer. Okay, and you will get that value the same way using get int. And for the default value, you also have to supply an integer. You can use 0, you can use 1, you can use any integer that you want. Okay, that's how you write data into shared preferences, and that's how you get data from shared preferences. So, in order to proceed, we need to find a way to toggle this shared preferences based on our switch. Okay, so here we're going to need to add a listener for our switch. We can do that with binding dot switch dark mode dot set on check changed listener. Okay, we have several methods here. We're going to need this button. I think the first parameter is a button, and the second parameter is an is-checked boolean. Okay, if you hover over this, it will be your compound button, and if you hover over the is-checked parameter, it will be a boolean. Okay, so this method allows you to keep track of the state of your switch. Okay, so this code that we used here to put this boolean, we will cut that and paste it inside this block of code. And instead of using put boolean false, we will use put boolean based on is checked. Okay, so after toggling this switch, basically, if it's toggled to false, this is checked will be false. And if it's toggled to true, this will change as well. Okay. So that's how you toggle your shared preferences for our example. And we need to make use of this, okay? We need to store this inside a variable. Let's get that up and write val is dark mode equals to shared paths dot get boolean dark mode. Okay, and now we need to update our UI accordingly. Okay, so if I click on this switch, the background has to change color, and the text view has to change the text color. Okay, so let's create a private function right here. Let's call it update UI, and let's have it take a parameter for is dark mode. This parameter will be a boolean, and here we're going to place a simple if-else statement. So if this is dark mode, we're going to have binding.clParent.set background color to color.black. Else, if this is not dark mode, we're going to have the same logic but for color.white. Okay, and with respect to our text view, we also want to change the color dynamically. So here you will use binding.textView.setTextColor. You will use for dark mode color.white in this case. And if it's in light mode, you will use color.black. So copy that line of code and paste it right there. Okay. And this piece of code needs to be applied in two different places. We need to apply it when we first open our application and when we toggle our switch as well. Okay, so after creating this variable, you're going to update the UI for the first time after opening your application so that the app can retain the state of this dark mode. Okay, so right here you can write update UI and pass is dark mode. Okay, and inside this block of code you're going to write update UI and pass is checked. Okay, because this basically reflects the state of is dark mode. If it is checked, it is dark mode, else it is not. One more thing that we need right here is the initial state of our switch. Okay, so if it is toggled for dark mode, we need our switch to be toggled as well. So let's handle that inside our update UI. You can handle that right here. So if this is dark mode, our switch will need to be checked. You can write switch dark mode dot is checked equals to is dark mode. Okay. After doing that, go ahead and run your application. I think this was pre-configured. Let's remove it right there and rerun our application. So there we have our initial app. That's our switch. If I toggle it to dark mode and I close my app, I can reopen it and it will remain in dark mode. Okay, I can toggle it back to light mode and close my app again. If I reopen my app, you will see that it remains in light mode. Okay. Keep in mind that this is meant for small types of data, like strings and integers and doubles. Don't attempt to save some complex types of data inside your shared preferences. Okay, it's not meant for that, and it will cause a lot of problems for you. For that reason, you will have to create a database to store that type of information. Okay, and you need to note that shared preferences are retained if the user closes the application, but if the user uninstalls the application, the shared preferences will reset. Okay, they will get cleared in that case. If you like my type of content and you find it to be relatable, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for future content, and I'll see you in the next video.